Hi, I'm Faustina from Prestemula University. Today I want to tell you a story about Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there lived a woodcutter, his wife, and their two children, Hansel and Gretel. A great famine struck the country. Their mother went to their father one night in despair and said, "We must survive the winter. We must. We have too many mouths to feed." "Well, what are we to do?" the woodcutter answered. "We must leave Hansel and Gretel alone in the forest. We just can't feed them for the winter," she replied. Little did they know, Hansel and Gretel could hear their entire conversation from their bedroom, and they had a plan. The next day, their mother came to their room and ordered them into their hiking clothes. Hansel was so sure to grab his sack of skipping stones and hold it tight. As they walked, Hansel dropped a stone every few feet. His mother began to notice he was lagging behind and said, "Hansel, what do you think you are doing? Hurry up!" Gretel decided to distract her mother and she said, "Look, mother, over there! Look at those squirrels! They are dancing! They are dancing as though they are fit for a ball!" Their mother looked. "I don't see any squirrels. I don't see any dancing. Hurry up, hurry along." The distraction gave Hansel just enough time to catch up. "Where are we going, mother?" the children asked. When they got no response, their greatest nightmares were confirmed. They were going to be left alone in the forest. After they walked for a great long time, they finally stopped at a clearing and their mother ordered them to sit on a deadlock. "Now you two stay here. I'm going to find some wood to cut. Stay here." Hansel and Gretel waited and waited and waited, but their mother never returned for them. Hansel began to worry about their safety. He imagined all the beasts in the forest that could kill them and eat them. Gretel decided to calm her brother down by taking his hand, and they followed the stones all the night long back to their home. They reached the little cottage just as the sun was rising. They were so tired, they fell asleep on the corpse. When they awoke, they were tucked in their beds and they could hear their father and their mother arguing. "How could you leave them in the forest?" their father asked. "I had to. We must. It's either them or all of us," their mother said. Now Hansel and Gretel knew their luck was surely up, and sure enough, the next morning their mother ordered them back into their hiking clothes. Hansel had no skipping stone shot grab this time, so they sadly followed their mother towards the door. Before they left, the woodcutter passed Hansel secretly a loaf of bread. Hansel rolled it up and placed it into his pockets. This way, as they walked, he could leave breadcrumbs just as the same as the stones the day before. They traveled for miles and miles and finally came to a smaller clearing than they had the night before. Their mother led them down a different path. "Now, you kids stay here. I will be back for you," their mother laughed. Hansel and Gretel waited again, waited and waited, but their mother never came back for them. Hansel offered Gretel what little bread was left. Gretel remembers Hansel's fear for all of the beasts the night before, and the two of them started to get scared. They began to follow the breadcrumbs home, but the breadcrumbs had mostly disappeared. Some birds or other animals must have eaten them. They were lost in the forest. Suddenly, they smelled the sweetest aroma they had ever smelled, and they followed it through the forest. Mouth dripping with drool, Hansel and Gretel came upon a house made of candy. There was a marshmallow roof with syrup dripping down the side of chocolate walls. There were gumdrops that lined the door frame, and the door was made of gingerbread. Hansel and Gretel stood stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. But as their tummies rumbled, they ran towards the house and began to eat pieces of it. What little prince had come to my house? A strange voice screeched. Hansel and Gretel stopped. They looked at each other and they saw a small, strange-looking worm. Two little ones to enjoy, says Grace again. Why don't you come into my house? I have more candy inside. Delicious, fresh candy inside. And so, despite Gretel's protest, went running into the house as fast as he could. Gretel was unsure, so she stayed outside. The door shut behind the little woman and Hansel. After a while of standing outside and waiting, the old woman came back out of her house and beckoned for Gretel to come in. Come on in, my pretty. Your brother is enjoying so much candy. Come in, come in. Gretel entered the house. When she did, she heard the gingerbread door shut and locked behind her. She looked to the left and she saw several bags of gold. And when she looked up to the right, she saw her brother inside a cage hanging from the ceiling above a large boiling pot over a fire. Well, my pretty, you are going to help me chop a lot of meat to eat the both of you up. Gretel turned. The old woman wasn't a woman at all. She was an evil witch, and Gretel in that instant understood her right. She was going to eat Hansel and Gretel for dinner. The old witch had Gretel chop up a lot and a lot of meat. While Gretel chopped, she was thinking of the way to escape. Ah, she sighed as she got a great idea. Did I just hear a dragon? A dragon outside? The witch stood up. A dragon, you say? And she unlocked the gingerbread door and ran outside to look for the dragon. Gretel had no time to waste. She quickly found the smallest, sharpest bone in the pile of meat and quickly tossed it to Hansel. Just as she sat back down, the old witch came back into the gingerbread house. There was no dragon, not even a puff of smoke or tip of a tail. Get back to work, Grady. Hansel was quietly maneuvering to the bone within the lock. Click, click, ding. He unlocked the door and waited for his moment. Gretel had finished chopping all of the meat that witch had given her. The witch walked over the pot to inspect it. Then Gretel said, I don't think the pot is hot enough. The witch bent over to look into the pot to taste it. Just then, Gretel pushed the witch. Hansel pulled the door open of his cage and jumped out, landing off the witch, saving himself from the boiling hot water. The witch dissolved into a sweet, sticky syrup. Hansel and Gretel grabbed the bags of gold and they ran from the house. What were they to do? They lost on the forest. They wandered for a while, and all of a sudden, they saw the skipping stones. They had been replaced where the breadcrumbs had been by a helpful bird, who was hungry and thankful to get the crumbs. Hansel and Gretel followed the stones all the way home. When they made it home, they were embraced by their father, who was now a widower. You see, their mother had died from food poisoning, unfortunately. And with all the gold they had taken from the witch's house, they never had to worry anymore about the money. And they lived happily ever after. The moral of the story is don't trust strangers, even if they treat you well. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.